Now we are going to talk about our eyewitness story presentation. Okay, today we are going to talk about the influence of exam-oriented teaching. Before having a deep discussion, let's introduce the issue. There is an ingrained thinking that academic results determines everything. In fact, this thinking is related to a Chinese traditional view, which is utilitarianism. Under such kind of idea, the result is the only criterion for judging right or wrong. The pursuit of good future and performance seems to always be regarded as inevitable. In the contrast, focusing on basic theoretical research is often regarded as divorced from reality. Utilitarianism has also shown in Hong Kong society that people will judge whether a person is successful or not depends on the degree of education and prestigious school or university he graduated from. In some, good academic results equal to bright prospects. Over time, this social value and ingrained thinking lead to the education system nowadays. Hong Kong is carry out exam-oriented teaching. It is a teaching method that excessive emphasis on imparting knowledge and students' proficiency of knowledge. To consolidate what they learn, teachers will provide intensive training. The curriculum is set for students to get ready for standardized tests such as TSA and HKDSE. Due to the emergence of talents, the educational system develops the strong social phenomenon of only the fittest will survive. Such influence of exam-oriented teaching is the most significant education problems in present Hong Kong. Now, I'm going to talk about tests and how tests and exams demonstrate the shortcoming of exam-oriented teaching. Firstly, let me introduce the TSAs since 2004. Students from primary 3, 6, and secondary 3 are chosen to be one of the participants in this assessment. This assessment tries to assist to school to refer to the difference between the school performance and the results of the whole and understand whether the basic ability level of its student in the three core subjects has reached the level of the whole or not. Until 2015, many laws about TSA turning students into examination machines and should be abolished as soon as possible. However, the educational period have emerged some improvements from 2017 and 2018. For example, TSA for primary 3 students changed to BCA. After 1 year, TSA resumed and 10% of students from each primary school will be selected. These changes try to reduce student stress from too many exercises conducted by the school. In fact, many schools still carry out extra classes during the holidays to help students preparing themselves. No matter how it's changed, assessment system is still appear from young age. It shows a strong adherence to the notion of determining students' ability through assessment. On the other hand, Hong Kong has another significant public examination, which is HKDSE. Since 2012, a limited number of university degrees in Hong Kong, getting a satisfactory result in HKDSE is the only path to enter the university. Students should fulfill the minimum requirements in the table. HKDSE is also known as dead or alive examination, as students have single time to show what they learned from secondary 4 to 6. Due to the seriousness of this examination, teachers constantly catching up with the curriculum before the HKDSE. However, as the context of the examination does not change for anyone, it is important to complete the course even if there is not enough time for teaching or students are overwhelmed. That's exam-oriented teaching in Hong Kong. There is a question in many Hong Kong students' mind: can such force-fed knowledge for HKDSE can really apply in future? Taking reading paper of Chinese language as an example, except testing student skills of reading comprehension, students are also required to deeply memorize the contents of 12 sets tests, which taught from secondary 4 to 6. The content refers to the message behind the test, the name and the usage of stylistic device in the text, and the meanings of some specific words. Undoubtedly, this part of the paper can relieve students' worries about this subject, as they are certain of getting higher marks in this part if they have studied the 12 sets test very well. Because of this advantage, teacher and tutorial classes designed different templates and intensive notebooks, which include model answer of different question types. At the same time, students keep doing past paper at the short time to think deeply. The worst student recites all night long cannot improve their Chinese language skills. It is not useful for the personal life and career. Also, it is not Chinese history subject. Students' Chinese language ability cannot really be tested by his or her recitation skills. That's what's brought by exam-oriented teaching. Besides Chinese language, mathematics can also show the side effects of exam-oriented teaching. Because of limited teaching time and a vast amounts of curriculum, students learn some shortcuts to get higher marks instead of the theory among different formulas, which show in the PowerPoint. Therefore, exam-oriented teaching form a bad learning atmosphere. That the result is far greater than the process. So under the exam-oriented teaching, who has been affected? Undoubtedly, students come first. To meet exam and homework requirements, students just want to get the model answer. They are afraid of making mistakes. They are not going to judge or ask what their teacher said. Thus, passive learning occurs on present Hong Kong. This will be seriously reduce the diversity of possible answer and the willingness of learning actively.
So under the primary education system, we understand that the Hong Kong Education Bureau loves using different examination as a QC process, using one's academic results to define who he or she is. This come up with the phenomenon that one's future is highly related to his or her academic results. In Hong Kong, parents believe that a famous school can bring his or her child away to success. Its curriculum and resources can make his or her child become more outstanding. So the Hong Kong parents want their children can be well prepared to get into a famous school. Somehow the parents nowadays may be concerned about their child's ability and worry about whether their child will fall behind the other child. So they would like to arrange different language tutor classes and extracurricular activity for their child so that their child can stand out from others. Here comes to two supporting videos that show how it happens in Hong Kong. So let's watch the first video together. 冇聲。Okay, never mind. Just narratively tell you about the video, what is going on. The woman who appeared in the first video is Mrs. Lee, and the document on her computer is a portfolio she prepared for her son Darren. And this kind of portfolio aims to list all kind of details to show how brilliant a child is. And the parents use this portfolio to apply to their ideal school. Besides, she is also mentioned that Hong Kong students' daily life is packed with different kinds of extracurricular activity and tutor classes. And the second video, and please check again whether the second one can able to. Okay, the content above can show that there is an educational exhibition in Hong Kong, and there are lots of booths there to promote different kinds of study aids, such as different workbooks, extracurricular activity, and some interview workshops. And the content above can show that the mindset of the parents under the ingrained Chinese thought, utilitarianism, aim to fight for a good start for their children's future study pathway and push their students to attend extra courses. June. Moreover, school under this primary education system also become harsh. As we mentioned, there is a TSA test for all Hong Kong primary 3, 6, and secondary 3, 6 students. And this test is used to distinguish the academic level of that school by its students' test result. And the overall academic level will affect that school's performance report. Thus, the school may put the responsibility back on the students and push them to do further extra exercise and past paper in order to meet up the achieving rate. So the school schedule may be very tight to teach different knowledge as fast as possible and use the spare time to do extra exercise with the students. Also, the teacher may assign a lot of homework and dictation for the student as a daily practice. It shows that the days of the Hong Kong Kong students are full of academic stress. So here comes to the screen capture from a documentary about how the Hong Kong student deal with the deal with the homework after school. And the little boy in the picture is called Ga Ting, and his mother has mentioned that her son has around 8 to 10 homework per day, and she will set a time limit for him. And Ga Ting, the boy, needs to finish his work within 2 hours. And after finishing his homework, Kating needs to prepare for his dictation or tests immediately. Here shows that the time after school is tight for Hong Kong children, and the young children need to face different homework and test stress under the primary education system. So we can also look that each stakeholder in Hong Kong are being stuck in this vicious cycle of primary education. So can we change the current phenomenon to a more flexible and child interest oriented education system? And let's take a look at Finland. Their unique education system brings them to the top of the list of the happiest countries in the world. Finland's education is based on a phenomenon-based learning (PBL) approach. It is an educational approach leading students to learn multidisciplinary, which based on the student inquiry and problem solving. There is no specific subject or any preset learning objective. The student can learn by self-investigation. Here shows that the PBL approach will never force students to remember certain knowledge, but also focus on the application and encourage children to think broadly. It can help preparing the learners to solve the real-life problems. Thus, we come up with 2 suggestions that can help strengthening Hong Kong students' creativity and learning intention and build up an open-mind thinking mindset for them. The first one will be setting up a special learning period at school. 轉得 page 係啦。好, and the first one will be setting up special learning period at school. And take Finland's case as a reforming reference. We can bring the PBL approach to both Hong Kong primary school and secondary school. The special learning period can be set as the post-examination activity and maybe last for 1 month. During the period, we can invite the students from different grades to form groups to do discussion. And the students can have 2 or 3 topics then can explore, and one is assigned by the teacher and the other one is come from the students themselves. And during the process, student can discuss about the topic, and there will be no grades, marks, or any assessment involved in this activity. Just let the students able to explore different methods to solve the problem they find out and to explore what they want to know. And once they finishing the topic, each group of students is going to do a presentation to share what they discovered during the investigation process. The format of the presentation can have no limitation, and the student can use any creative way to express what they discover and share their solution to respond to the topics. This can provide a chance for the Hong Kong students to try out a new and flexible learning system apart from direct teaching from teachers, and it helps boosting the Hong Kong students' creativity, broader their mindset, and encourage them to think outside of the box. Secondly, and the second solution can allow the student to be the one who teach. As the education in Hong Kong is mainly in charge by the teachers, and the student go to school just listen to what the teacher says. So the student in Hong Kong are likely to follow what the teacher arranged for an exam preparation purpose. They have fewer chance to explore what they truly want to know or learn and become less curious about their surroundings. Thus, our goal is to give better learning intention to the students, and the primary school can have 2 self-initiated learning sessions per week. Those sessions can invite a child to be that session's teacher, and the child can choose to teach his or her classmates something new that he or she recently find out, or just carry out some questions that he or she is curious to know to different classmates. And therefore, the children can be the one who acts as our active learners to discover something new rather than just learning from the books or just receiving some new information from the teachers. So this is the overall presentation of our perspective. So here it comes to the comment time, and there are 3 different questions about the exam-oriented teaching. So the first one is, if you are a student in Hong Kong, how do you feel about studying under the exam-oriented teaching?
If I was, sorry, if I was a student in Hong Kong, I would feel like the exam orating teaching is like too much, too overwhelming. It's like it applies a lot of stress on like an individual as well. Like I think it's just too much. And my suggestions for reforming the education system in Hong Kong, I feel like we need to ease up and also incorporate, like you said, more abstract and like real world curriculum. And what I think about the Chinese traditional mindset about the utilitarianism, that's about people being valued about their education, from their education, right? I think that that mindset is really like narrow. I feel like you can definitely be successful and be valued by other things that you've done in the world. It doesn't always have to be about education.
Yes.
So I would say for the first question, exactly what my group mate said. It sounds very stressful. We do have something similar, but it's more so standardized testing where it's not necessarily, I guess, in close proximity of time frame as it is for you all. We have the SAT and the ACT, but that's when everything is done. So we still have room to choose our paths and kind of determine what we want to do for ourselves in the future. But overall, it seems very, very stressful, especially when it came down to, I apologize, I can't remember the little boy's name, but he had 8 to 10 tasks to do when he got home, and to get it done in 2 hours, that to me seemed unreasonable, and it seemed like quite a bit for a child to handle. My suggestion for reforming the education system in Hong Kong, basically, like you all said, I think there needs to be more inclusion on the child in the actual well-being and the health of the child and what the child wants, or what students in Hong Kong wants, which kind of goes into my answer for number 3 of utilitarianism. I think it should be a more shift from, instead of the benefit of the majority and education for the majority in the whole, it should be based on the individual. So I think it's a lot to deal with, and it's definitely eye-opening.
Okay. So may I know that is there any similar type of tests, or the teaching is just informing you some specific knowledge that you need to recite them in US?
So we have situation. It really goes by the curriculum that the United States is based off of is based on your school district, which is based on your county, which is based on your state. So curriculum is different throughout the US and what people learn. I can only speak for what I learned in the curriculum at a Gwinnett County School in Georgia in the United States. We had certain things that were kind of like milestones, what we called them. We had final exams every term, which was really just like an overall test of what you learned the entire school year. A little bit further than that, we had writing tests, but it was only to write what you got the topics that it would be over, and for I would say about a month to 2 months, you would just focus on that and learning more information about that. But other than that, I think the last big testing that we have is the ACT and the SAT, and you're not selected to take those, you choose to take them. And some people can choose to take them if they want to go to college, and you don't have to take it if you don't want to go to college, but that's really what it's for. So that's the testing that we have. But just to clarify, you all were saying I think you said that some of the tests you all are selected to take.
Actually, the Hong Kong DSE is almost compulsory for all the students, because in Hong Kong everyone want to go to the university.
Oh, gotcha.
So
okay.
I think that no one will not take the exam. Everyone will take the exam.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I'm just some comment, and I have learned that you at the US people may have the SAT, but I don't know, there is exam is called ACT.
Yeah.
And I just know that there is a SAT system. So I originally think that it is also a compulsory test for all the people. But it's a new information for me that the SAT is an optional choice for the students. It is quite special.
Yeah.
And
I know I didn't take the SAT. I think I just took the ACT because of around the time I took the ACT and the SAT was like when COVID first started, and that's when like colleges were making it like optional. So I ended up not taking the SAT, and I just used my ACT score. I didn't like add it at all, I think, if it wasn't required.
is there any difference if I chose SAT but not ACT, or any one of them?
The grading is different. I think the price is different. Michelle, did you have to pay for yours? I mean, because I remember high school for me was a cute little minute ago, but I remember having to pay for my standardized testing, my SAT and ACT. But the scoring is different. And it covers different things, I believe. I think the ACT covers one more topic than the SAT does. But I think also one thing to note is that based off of the standardized testing that you take, either SAT or ACT, it also helped determine the scholarships that you're able for here. So if you take the ACT, for example, Georgia, we have Hope Scholarship and Zell Miller Scholarship. If you take the SAT, you're eligible for Hope. If you take the ACT, you're eligible for Hope and Zell Miller. And that goes into how much money you're allocated from the state to pay for your tuition.
Okay, understand.
Yeah.
So, okay.
So, so you guys mentioned another, was it not the HKS?
GSU?
It was a
TSA.
test that you guys, TSA?
You
TSA.
want
Okay, so does everyone take the TSA one? Or that does everybody take the TSA testing, or was it like certain people for that one?
just certain people do that, and the Educational Bureau will just take partially in the class, but however, the school do not know who will be taken to do the task. So everyone need to train that before the TSA comes.
Gotcha. So it's a random selection.
Yes. Random.
Okay, gotcha. Oh, wow, okay.
Do you have any curiosity about the education system in Hong Kong? Or is it's okay for you to know?
Yeah, I think you guys covered a lot, and you guys did really well. Like, I feel very knowledgeable on the educational system in Hong Kong. Yeah, good.
Okay, thank you guys.
Okay, thank you.
If you
Thank you, you
have
guys.
any requirement to do any other meeting about your essay, the COVID-19 essay, you can just WhatsApp us and we can do our Zoom meeting later.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay,
Thank you.
bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye.